Stream health, you said. What does that mean? Yeah, you're talking to the microphone, dickhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Georgia was just talking about the stream health. Apparently that's the live stream and not a medical condition of his.
That's what I heard.
What are you doing? You look like shit, I'm not going to lie.
Well, I don't think that's nice.
It's not mean or nice. It is an observation.
What makes me look like shit?
You're clearly sick. I mean, you can hear it, right? Which makes me see all the other flaws in your face that I normally ignore.
Yeah, well...
You haven't shaved. I mean,
yeah.
And if you did, it was with a wet dick.
I actually brushed my teeth with one of those. That's usually my...
I like to do a little... Ross never does any preamble on these things because it takes people a minute to get into the room.
Yeah, I mean, I want to let them all get in here. Oh, look.
I'm in no hurry.
Yvonne.
Who?
Yvonne's on here.
Ivan? Why would it be Yvonne? I mean, Yvonne Rodriguez, I guess. But Ivan the Terrible. So who's right?
Yeah, well...
Yvonne Rodriguez is a Hall of Famer, I think. And Ivan the Terrible, he murdered quite a few people. So
you know what? Is it Ivan or Yvonne? Can you let me know?
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know who's wrong and who's right.
My posture's terrible. It's not going to change. I don't care.
Your posture is terrible.
It is, yeah. It's because I don't care about being alive. It's not a big deal.
About being alive?
Yeah.
I think are we live on my Facebook
Pinecone
too?
Yeah, we are.
Let's see. I'm trying to find it.
Are you? You can't find your own Facebook page?
No, I don't see it anywhere, to be honest.
Is it not restreaming on his Facebook page too?
Oh, it is right here. Holy
God, you are so dumb.
Gosh,
man.
whoa. That's not nice.
I like talking to people, but not in person.
Yeah, I mean, people are like...
I don't want to see you. I just want you to hear what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe I should just wear a mask all the time.
Honestly, I wish like these, where we just have to wear these masks right now for COVID. I wish it could just go over your whole face and it's only eye holes. We could just go to...
Well, let's just convert to Islam and we'll start wearing burqas.
Yeah, men wear burqas too.
Yeah, we'll switch it up on them.
Yeah.
I identify as an Islamic woman now, so I'm sorry I have to wear this beekeeper outfit just in case the bees show up.
Beekeeper outfit. So what's going on, Dan?
Well, today is the first in a series. We've been talking for a while now about making a list of ideas that kind of represent what this shit's all about. I borrowed the word principles. I don't think I borrowed it really. It's part of the lexicon, but Ray Dalio wrote a book.
Yeah.
He's a very wealthy investor, and principles for life and business, I guess, is the thing for him. And there's a lot of good notes and everything. I think the idea of a principle is something that, is broadly applicable, right? Like do good things. What does that mean? There's a lot of things you can unpack from that, but it's a pretty good standard to go by, right? Because if you judge yourself, by that standard, am I doing good? Right?
Yeah.
That it gives you some sense of direction. So I think that's important. We did toss around a lot of ideas, spoke to a lot of current events on the show, but I feel like it's time to start discussing with the audience specifically, which is one of the reasons we're live, what it is the American Party is going to be exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think with anything you have to have principles, core values, something that you can say when somebody's like, well, what is it you live by? I call it the box. So like for my businesses, for my life, I draw a box, and if it doesn't fit in that box, well, then it doesn't go, right? And I always redefine that box every year. So like what does it have to fall into? It falls into service, if it falls into integrity, it falls into this year I want to focus on myself more than doing what other people want. Or, my businesses, like each business has to define, it has to have a box. It has to have 4 sides. And if it doesn't fit in those 4 sides, every decision that's thrown at me, if it doesn't fit in that box, well, then it has to go.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole point, right? That's why this seems like an odd example, but if you're shopping online and you click the filters, like I want to see these types of things,
yeah,
right? If this new thing that's coming into your life doesn't fit into this mold, get it out.
And it's not saying like for me, I do it in business a lot, right? Like, this year I want to focus on flip side canvas, own the dash.
Right.
I want to focus on myself, and I want to focus on being a firefighter. So right there, those 4 things, every opportunity that comes at me, if it's not adding value to any of those things, then it's a waste of my time off of my focus on where I'm going, right?
It's pulling you out of your
it's pulling me
out of your wheelhouse, I guess, so to speak. Yeah, and there's a lot of other things that happen there too, like contact switching when you get distracted by something and lose the ability to continue maintaining long-term focus on a project you're trying to complete. It's probably not going to get completed, right? You're just going to be jumping from thing to thing all the time.
Yeah,
it's a big problem in business with all these stupid I mean, you've worked in corporate environments, or at least been around them a little bit. All the dumb little meetings that could have been emails. It
so
just
stupid.
Fucks your day up. Come on, man. Anyways, we in my estimation, I think we can arrive at what the party is meant to be by defining these principles. So that's why we wanted to start there. What things do we hold most dear? What are we going to prioritize as a group? So,
do you care if you get corona?
No, I don't care.
Okay, good.
I like to start with affirmative first-person statements, such as "I will," ... followed by some kind of action that I'm going to be able to do every day or every week or whatever it is, right? Whatever the time period is. So with that, we'll move into the first one, Principle 1. This is the statement for Principle 1. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Does that sound familiar to you? Where might you have heard that before?
Where'd you get that at?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, you look at the people who give the most to this country, not for themselves, but for all of us, right? I mean, they all raise their right hand and they swear to that. And when you talk about enemies, I mean, literally, this is an easy thing. People are like, oh, well, Iraq, they get in these wars, these talks about these wars, and it's like, look, the difference between an enemy and a mistake is nothing but intent.
Right.
Right? Like, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has a bad day. Everybody does shit that they regret, right?
Of course,
but it's the intent that's behind it.
Right.
If you wake up and you intend on doing harm to a fellow American, if you wake up and you intend on doing something that is malicious to hurt someone else or the future of this country for anything, for any reason, whether it's personal gain or whether it's just you're a sick fuck, you are an enemy.
Correct, yeah.
And you deserve to be dealt with accordingly.
Correct, yeah. I mean, that's...
And you don't come back from that. You don't.
No, you don't.
You don't change somebody's core intentions, right? People can fuck up all day long, right? Are all gangsters bad people? No.
No, I would say the vast majority are just people that are forced into a shitty situation.
100%, right? Yeah. Because their intentions behind them are not to...
They're not out to harm people. They're out to make money, and look, people do get harmed.
Exactly.
Right, but that in that culture is just
but people get harmed in every business.
Yeah, in that culture, it's just like, well, what's more evil, gang violence or corporate greed that leads? Because we know there's a direct correlation, even here in America, to poverty and death, particularly sub-14 age death, right? So this, I will support and defend the Constitution. This is the most basic principle in our country, right?
Yeah.
It's why it's the oath of every political office. It's the oath of enlistment, and a variety of other formal oaths share the same language. I think it's important to point out a few things about this statement to unpack a little bit what it really means. First, it doesn't pledge allegiance to the country. It doesn't pledge allegiance to any leader, any government. None of that. It doesn't pledge allegiance to any of that. It pledges allegiance to the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, why is that important? Because America isn't a geographical location. It's not Congress. It is not the White House. It's not the military. It is not our land, our buildings, our money, our wealth. It's none of that. America is not something you can hold in your hand, and it is not something you can see with your eyes.
It's an idea.
America is the idea that individual liberty is the most important thing on this earth. As it understands, individual liberty is, in society, is the ultimate inoculation against tyrannical bullshit.
Yep.
Right? That is important. Second, the Constitution tells us specifically who it must be defended from, something you were just talking about. Enemies, foreign and domestic. So we must be, like you're saying, as intolerant of injustice and evil from our own people as we are from injustice and evil from abroad, right?
Absolutely.
Like you can't. The standard is the standard. That's why it's called that.
Yep.
And then finally, what does it mean to support and defend? I think that's a really interesting. I think it's interesting. It says support and defend. To me, that reads as the sword and the shield almost, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's an offensive and defensive posture being defined right there. So we must defend our country by defending its constitution. We also have to support it. And what does that mean? It means we live our lives in a way that honors the Constitution, and we demand the same of our countrymen, right?
Absolutely.
All these rights that we are afforded because of, American war fighters through the generations, they must be extended to every single American. And if they're not, then none of this exists. If it doesn't exist for everybody.
Look, and I think we're like things are going downhill in America. Is say I'm right or wrong, but like you look at World War II after a huge war, they're remembered as the greatest generation.
Right.
They didn't come back and play the victims. You look at the people who are raising their right hand and going to fight for this country. They're coming back and they're playing the fucking victim card. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you don't think that has a direct correlation with their country becoming weaker?
Right, yeah.
You don't think that has a direct correlation? We're coming back and we're trying to tell people how fucking hard we are.
Yeah.
Growing fucking beards and wearing the grunt style fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
And telling everybody we demand respect while we cry that our country fucked us.
Hard people do hard shit.
That's
They
right.
don't fucking stand around talking about it. I'll say that.
That's a fucking fact.
And if you're one of those people, if you think about buds, if you're standing in line with the fucking log on your shoulder and you're the only one not lifting, then you're a piece of shit and you got to go.
Yep.
There's a reason that bell's up there. Ring that motherfucker and get out.
I tell people all the time, I don't care if you want to be, if you want to play the victim card and cry, oh, poor me, and be a drunk alcoholic and beat your wife and kids and, go to the VA and make the VA your life every day. Like, I don't care if that's what you want, but can you just take the word veteran out of your name and don't ever correlate us in the same.
Yeah, it'd be nice, right?
You know what I mean?
The problem is that you're trading on the honor of people, other people, right? It's the same thing it's the same gripe I have about, politicians and such. That sending us to fight dumbass wars, you've robbed us of our ability to feel honorable about that experience. And to be honest, feeling honorable about that experience is one of the only ways to mentally deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of them,
it's so much more fucked up when you can't be proud of the work you did.
The problem is most of them, like I am so sick of us as veterans pretending like we all serve the same. Like that idea, I tried to get on that a long time ago, and the idea that all of our deployments were the same. No, motherfucker, you signed up for admin.
Yeah.
I signed up to go carry a gun.
Yeah, just be admin.
It's not the same. Just be okay with being admin.
Yeah, it's not like
you're not a warrior.
Yeah.
You're not a fucking warrior.
There's no, what's the point of that, by the way? Not everybody should be a warrior.
No, not everybody should be a warrior.
Do you feel when you watch like an NBA game, do you get mad that you're not one of the players?
No, but it's like.
You know what I mean? Just enjoy the fucking fruit of that labor.
Yeah.
Because you can't or won't do it. It's really that simple. It's not like something you should feel ashamed about or anything.
But
that part I never understood.
It's not something to be ashamed about. You know what I mean? So look, I think principles are definitely a core piece. And look, I think the number one principle is, look, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
And if anything, we should be harder on our domestic enemies.
For sure, yeah.
More than and hold them to the standard.
Internal threat is always the big threat.
The internal
right?
threat's the big one.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
it's
that
like cancer in your body.
Yeah, I'm not talking about McCarthyism or any of that stupid bullshit where we're just paranoid and wondering if everybody's trying to turn on us all the time. Yeah. It's not about that. It's really not about the super egregious stuff. It's more about the day-to-day things, right? Because it's almost like community policing or broken window theory. If you do enough at the lower level, there's an old saying, I think I've mentioned it before, by a religious author named James Dobson, and he says, the more frequently you catch your kids doing the right thing, the less frequently you'll catch them doing the wrong thing.
That's a fact.
Which implies that positive reinforcement is a very good thing, which means that's why I bring that up, because of the support part of the support and defend the Constitution. Like, I really want to hear from the audience what you guys think about. What does that mean? What does it mean to support the Constitution, right?
Yeah, what does that mean?
When someone is trying to limit your First Amendment right or Second Amendment right, to me, that is the opposite of supporting the Constitution. However, there's nuance there. If there is something that needs to be explained very clearly to make sure that Second Amendment works as is, right? To make sure it works as intended, rather, then we need to do that. That needs to be defined clearly. That's supporting the Constitution is giving it more authority.
Well, I mean, look, people are talking about, people won't take up and defend the Constitution, or people won't stand for it. Look, the easy part is defending it. Defending your house when a burglar breaks in is easy, because that's the time you have to. Look, getting my Medal of Honor was probably the easiest thing.
Yeah, you just had to do it. There was no choice.
Like I had no choice.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there were bullets fucking flying. Guess what? It was go time, right? Like, there was no other options.
Training is way more hard.
Training and discipline
than fucking
is way harder
combat,
than the actual combat, right? And that's the thing I think
it's supposed to be, but I mean,
it's supposed to be.
Like you train to fucking walk 25 miles and then get into a fight. Like
Exactly.
the 25 miles can't take anything out of you.
Nope.
That's how you're supposed to train, and man, that's a lot tougher than the reality.
And imagine doing that
usually we
every
don't do
single
that.
day and having the discipline to do that when there's no enemy at the end of it, and you know that, right? It's hard to have discipline and to live up to the expectations that we want everyone else to, right? The easy part, look, the easiest thing in this country to happen right now for all of us is a civil war. Like, that would be the fucking easy thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to get angry and throw punches than it is to sit down and keep your fucking temper in check and have a dialogue with other human beings.
But do you think, like, can we really go and hold people to these standards that we're not holding ourselves to?
No, you got to lead from the front.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why it says "Follow me" on the fucking infantry tab, man. This is nothing new. It doesn't say "Do what I say, not what I do." It says "Follow me."
Yep.
And it says it on every infantry fucking badge that exists. So
I am Marine Corps infantry. Yeah.
I mean,
not Army. Don't fall Army.
Yeah. Either way, it's that's a pretty good example in throughout our literature as well. It's been like that. If you read about the military and governmental leaders from the past, you never see one succeed that asks people to do things they're not willing to do. For example, Julius Caesar got famous not in the Roman Senate, but by conquering Gaul, right?
Yeah.
France, basically. And what he was known for was him and Mark Antony, his top general, getting into the fights themselves and fucking people up, even though he was a very wealthy man, technically born in the purple, which means born into royalty. So that is how you lead. And, you're right. Holding each other accountable is the biggest part in that. I mean, when you're talking about supporting it, it's tell me, I think any conversation we have about our government or any new law or anything that's being discussed in Congress, that should be the litmus test. Not are you a conservative or a Democrat or whatever the fuck. It should be what does this new law you're trying to pass do to support our Constitution?
Yeah.
If the answer is nothing, then the law should not exist. It's really that fucking simple.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I don't know what you're doing today. You look like, what do you got, cedar fever or something?
Man,
You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Any of you guys from Texas know just how bad that sucks.
There's only two types of people in Texas. People who have allergies and people who are about to fucking have them.
Yeah, it is rough.
Yeah, I went and got my COVID test. I got 2 of them.
Yeah, you got one Saturday or last Saturday.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like, I didn't know
What, they dug into the back of your brain?
No, I didn't know that you had to pull your pants down to get a COVID test.
No, I don't think that was a COVID test.
Oh, dang, I must have got it mixed up.
Yeah, I think you...
I got 2 of them.
Well, you got 2? Like double pin it? What do you mean?
Well, they just said they're extra careful.
Well, they can... If you guys...
So they're looking for antibodies or something?
Yeah, that's not in your butt, though.
Ooh. Yeah.
So,
yeah, well,
sorry.
Well, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah, this took a weird turn.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you. Does.
But I'll tell you what doesn't take a weird turn.
Oh, what's that?
Is when you're laying in a ghost bed.
Lying in a ghost bed, actually.
Yeah, I'll say laying.
No, we'll say lying because that's the right word.
No, I'll say laying.
I will not tolerate your poor grammar on this show.
Yeah, well,
Crayon-eating motherfucker.
Well, listen, sorry I was out, doing something while you were going to school, okay?
I didn't even pay attention in school.
So,
yeah, ghost bed, though. I slept really well last night.
You did?
Yeah, I took a bunch of melatonin and some other things and, slept for 7 hours. That's the most I've slept in like 2 years, I think.
And you know what's really badass, since we're on the topic of talking about,
Service, yeah.
Service.
Yeah.
I mean, ghost bed is definitely a company that supports those that serve and take care of us. Teachers,
Since
first
the beginning,
responders. The people that are out there just putting it on the line every day. GhostBed offers 30% off
to military veterans, military active veterans, first responders, police, fire, nurses, government employees, and teachers, and some other groups.
And honestly, you got to think it's a really smart deal because the people that you want showing up to take care of you, you want them to sleep good.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, if wherever GhostBed if they started putting up stores, for example, right? And Antifa tried to loot them. I'm pretty sure Drinking Bros would show up at this point and fight them off.
For sure,
they've done so much for our community.
And what's really badass is, they've got the cooling technology. They're offering 30% off on all bundles site-wide right now. Crazy, but they offer a 20-year warranty. I mean, dude, me and you won't be alive in 20 years.
There's no way.
No chance.
Nope. I'll have been killed by a girlfriend by then for sure. Like, if I don't get murdered by somebody I'm dating within the next 10 years, that would be a huge shock.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll lose a bet, actually.
I'm thinking about doing it.
Murdering me?
Yeah.
Well, we're not dating yet, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm
not really into puzzles and all that bullshit.
That's kind of awkward. And 20-year warranty. You can sleep in it for 101 nights, and then you can return it.
You can do whatever you want to in it for 101 nights and then return it, technically. Sleep or not sleep. Right? What do you do in bed when you're not sleeping, Dakota?
Sometimes I watch my ceiling fan.
Nope, that's not it.
I look at my phone.
Yeah, you're real wholesome. We were just talking about...
What do you do?
Pound off, mostly.
Pound off
Pound off, right? I've got an adjustable base, so...
What do you pound off?
I fucking turn that bitch up and put my legs all the way up here.
Oh, yeah. So we call that the recovery position, to where, like, the blood comes to your head?
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get a euphoric
sensation
in shock?
going on
as I'm pounding off into my...
So, hold on.
I'm wearing them.
Who? Is there somebody in there with you?
No. Well, my dogs watch from the corner of the room.
Oh, is that kind of awkward?
No, they love it.
They do?
Yeah. Yeah, why
That's
not?
kind of, this took a weird turn. But anyways, with GhostBeds, you can,
Forgot what show we're on.
With GhostBeds, you can get 0% down, 36 months financing.
Pay as you go, yeah.
Pay as you go.
So it's 36 months and without any interest.
Go check them out at
they're dope.
ghostbed.com.
It's the best company ever.
/Drinking Bros.
And they love our ad reads too.
They do. They
like how we talk about weird shit for half an hour and then finally get to the ad.
They do.
Let's see. What else? We got Simply Safe today. I love this company. Everybody needs to get a fucking security system at their house, man. You need a dog and you need a security system at your house to keep you safe these days. Not to keep you safe, just to alert you so you can get your bag and your gun and start. Everybody out there wants a stateside kill.
Think about this. If you've got Simply Safe, you can enjoy your GhostBed more.
That's true. Yeah, you can relax a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, they coincide.
Yeah, it's good to have something that will alert you to danger. That's for sure. And they have Simply Safe has the interconnected camera system. So you put the cameras in your place and the motion detectors, and it all shows up right on your phone. It's pretty dope. So you can set everything. You can turn it off and on from home. You also don't need any kind of expert setup for this thing. It's pretty dope. It takes about half an hour to set it up by yourself in your house. It's like double-sided tape and shit. You just stick it to the wall. Perfect. Then you put it on your computer network, and it monitors stuff 24/7. You can put settings in there to let me know if this happens or let me know if this happens. You can change the notifications. Great. Right now, listeners get free home security camera when you purchase the Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/American Party, and that's you're going to get 60 days risk-free. So try it. If you don't like it by January, send it back. So go to simplysafe.com/American Party for a free security camera. Again, it's that opportunity to alert you so you're really dialed in when some jackass shows up. So you can, do whatever you have to do. I'm not saying to murder people, but murder them. That's simplysafe.com /.
That's really mean. Party. I'm really not against, I'm really against violence.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I hurt somebody's feelings once.
Did you take any Roman right before the show?
Well, not right before the show.
Honestly, I did, and it is about to kick in.
Oh, is it going to knock this table over?
Oh no, definitely no.
Oh,
risk
you're
of that.
Irish. I'm sorry.
No risk of that. Cool, man. So back to our principal talk.
Yeah, Principal, like Principal Belding from Saved by the Bell. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Hey man, did you notice that? I just got a new iWatch.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I'm so sophisticated.
Apple Watch. So you don't even know the name of it, and that's how
Yeah.
sophisticated you are.
Yeah. It is an iWatch.
Apple Watch.
Bro, you know what? Listen.
I'm just trying to help you out, man.
What do you think? So like as
No, like-
listeners real quick before we get back on a serious topic, would you all buy a puzzle if we put me and Dan on it? Do you think we should make a puzzle of me
What
and
if it's
Dan?
my head on that big black dude with the giant hog? That meme. It's
Yeah.
my head on him. What do you think about that? Would you?
Would we keep you white?
No, that's racist, I think. But then I'm in
understand.
blackface.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean if we blacked your face out, then
Yeah.
you're definitely done.
I'll have to call Alyssa Milano and see what's appropriate.
Okay.
She's apparently the fucking morality police in the world
Yeah,
now.
well, we should do that. So, they said they'd frame it. Okay, so if we do make this, because we can do this,
I've actually already got that picture.
I'm not. It's got to be
somebody made
both
it
of
already.
us. It can't just all be about you, Dan.
Well,
I know it always has to be about you and
We'll Photoshop
dicks and
you into
pounding
the,
off.
We'll Photoshop you way in the background. Like your face will be in a picture frame over his shoulder or something.
I think we
Nobody wants to see you, dude. Nobody wants to see you. Are you
Bro,
kidding
they
me?
all do.
No, they don't.
They
Come
all do.
on.
You know what? Okay, let's do a poll here. Can we? Hey, Giorgio, can we get a poll going over here? Okay, let's get a poll going of who had you rather seen on a puzzle, me or Dan? Okay, right there. I want to see Dakota.
Wait, who's saying that?
Dakota is the reflection in the reflection of the window watching. Dakota, we love you. So yeah, who do y'all want on the puzzle?
Or you're like a picture of you inside of his pupil, like a really small, where you have to zoom way in to see it.
Bro.
Because that again,
How many piece puzzle would it be too? Because I mean, I got to figure out like.
probably 1,000, right? We wanted to be some effort without going crowd. I went 2,500, 500 to 1,000. Somewhere.
Oh,
in
they
that
want
range.
Dan getting pegged. We you know, and then the other thing is on the next show we're going to talk about. Me and Dan are talking about doing a joint
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, but it's gonna be. It's gonna be like real daddy shit. Like I'm gonna wear college professor looking clothes and give stern talkings to people.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my thing.
Okay, so there we go. I think we should make a list of puzzles with just pictures of us. Yeah.
We could just make a puzzle out of our logo there on your shirt.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, this is my shirt.
There are many like it, but this was mine. What are you
Yeah.
gonna start quoting that shit? You institutionalized piece of shit. No, we're not doing that. We already did one today. Principle 1 was an institutionalized thing. We're gonna move on. Don't bring that Marine Corps stuff in here. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, whatever.
And in the old country, we called them the pendejo police. That's funny. All right, you guys are dicks.
Listen, bro.
So let's move on to more serial conversations. Back to the principles. Principle 2. This is one that I think kind of falls in line with the support part of the Constitution. I will do something every day to help my country, my countrymen, or all men. Right?
Yeah.
This one, like I said, I extrapolated from the first. I don't like platitudes. I don't like things like, I don't want to hear any of that live, laugh, love bullshit. So when I hear things like just go for it or fucking pull yourself up by your bootstraps, man, I cringe at the vagueness of a statement like that. If you're going to give somebody direction, give them some fucking direction. You know what I mean?
Stern.
Yeah, I mean, stern for sure, but definitely detailed. You don't want to prescribe somebody, all the actions in their life, but you certainly want to give them something to build on.
Yeah, like live, love, laugh. Like, what does that tell you? Like, obviously, if I need some inspiration, I want to live a better life. So
Right.
obviously, I want to live. Love. What am I supposed to love? Right? I mean, it's just like so fucking
Yeah,
vague.
it's vague. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. So let's break down what it might look like for you, me, whomever to
I live, love, and laugh.
to do something every day to help your country, countrymen, or all men, right? So the first advice I give is to be on the lookout for people that need help, and be on the lookout for positive things to do. Make that part of your daily routine. You know what I mean? Because it becomes part of your attitude, I guess, that you are looking for stuff like this to do.
Yeah.
If you're open, people in need will find you.
Yeah, and we're not looking, and I think, look, go back to this. It all goes back to intentions, right? Like, don't do something. We're not saying go and do something, go to work and do something expecting something in return. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about get up, do something for someone else that you don't have to do without any expectations or any resentment when they don't do anything back, or even if they walk up to you and say, fuck you after you open the door for them.
Right.
You're not going to feel bad about it. That is,
yeah. There's an old quote, and it goes something like, "You can never live a perfect day until you've done something for someone who could never possibly repay you." I think that's it's certainly a good way to think about things, because we all do things for some benefit, right? I think this one we've got to do it to the benefit of our country and ourselves in a way, but mostly it's for other people. And when you focus on other people, what is the quote? A rising tide lifts all boats. You know what I mean? The better we all do, the better we all do. Seems like a pedantic thing to say, like an unnecessary thing to say, but it's very necessary because people just don't understand that. So
we're only strong as our weakest link.
Yeah. So when we're talking about finding opportunities, I'm always reminded of that Mr. Rogers quote from back in the day. His mom was telling him, during times of crisis, to look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. Now think about that statement for a moment, because I think it's profound in a lot of ways. It assumes that the majority of people are essentially good, and that someone in the crowd will always be ready to help other people. So that's a challenge, right? To be the helpers. You want to be the helper in your group. There's something called the bystander effect. Kitty Genovese, and she was stabbed to death in front of a bunch of people. And then there was some psychological studies done in the years following, and they determined that the more people that witness some kind of crazy event, the less likely anybody is to act, because everybody expects somebody else to act. And this is where leadership comes in. This is the difference between platitudes and quotes and little silly sayings on boards in your home, and actually living a life that honors this country, right?
Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time, though. I mean, I see it all the time look on calls, people standing back and not doing anything. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Pulling up on a wreck one time, and I jumped out of my truck. Literally, the vehicle is sitting on top of this woman, and I'll never forget, man. I got tunnel vision, and I'm holding C-spine on her, and I'm just talking to her for a little bit. And I remember looking back, man. There was 3 other patients on the ground, and I looked across the road, and there was about 8 to 10 people just with their cell phones up, holding it, watching me, and no one else helping me. And I was like, at that point, man, I was so sick, because I was like, we have now gotten to the point in America where other human beings suffering has now became our fucking entertainment.
Right, yeah.
And it's just like, what's the difference in me and them? What's the difference in any of that, right?
Well,
the
the
difference
difference
of
is,
watching someone get their ass jumped, and the shit beat out of them, and you not stepping in and doing anything. And when we put ourselves, the outcome for ourselves before others, we're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that. You just can't live your life like that.
You can't.
There's no, I'm not going to get into like the Nash equilibrium theory, because nobody's going to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. But there's really good mathematical algorithms that describe ways in which societies break down if everybody just tries to do only the best for themselves. I mean, it ultimately becomes an unlivable society. But you don't have to. This seems like a bigger challenge to people than I think it really is.
And I'm going to tell you where it comes from: lawyers.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's good Samaritan laws.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't know that. People are like, look, I don't want to touch them because they'll fucking sue me.
Yeah,
like
true.
People are like, I don't want to do this because I'll get sued, right? But then again, we go back to saying, I'm okay with letting the outcome of them be what it's going to be decided, when I could possibly change it, all because I put myself first.
Yeah, what's true? if I see something bad happening and I know that I can stop it and I choose not to because I'm afraid of what might happen to me, what does that say about me exactly?
But don't you think like that was all implied to us when we started teaching our kids, hey, I don't care if you get in a fight, but you better let them hit you first.
Right.
You know, like that old saying of you know,
Don't start a fight, but protect
I won't
yourself.
start it, but I'll finish it.
Yeah.
Man, usually by the time the fight started, like it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we so that means, so basically what we've taught and
Well,
put
it's just like
into,
being at war. We have to wait for some of these assholes to start shooting at us before we can shoot back. If I see a guy with a gun, I'm going to smoke him. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But we've put into this, we have put in literally the mindset of people that only do something when you have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's being, I mean, in what competitive environment does being reactive ever work? If you're reactive in sports, you're going to lose. If you play to not lose instead of playing to win, you lose.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't care how good.
If you're tentative and you're reactive instead of proactive, you fucking lose.
Imagine if you went
time.
on a fucking football. Imagine if you went on a team and defense is all you had.
Yeah, it wouldn't work out.
And you had two defenses up against each other.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. I mean, it would just be, stupid. So, you know, what does that mean then? Be proactive. You don't have to spend yourself, though, into the poorhouse trying to give to charity 24 hours a day all year. You don't have to work 24 hours a day with no break. You don't have to it's not anything crazy. It can be as simple as helping a stranger pick something up they dropped in public.
It could be as simple as open the door.
Be the person that whenever anything happens around you, you're the first to react to it. There's a lot of really good benefits from that. One, you know, you're helping other people. Two, you are more aware at that point than you ever will be in your life. Not only aware of bad things, but good things as well. And it will enrich your life in a lot of ways. And it doesn't matter how big or small it is. What matters is that someone needed you, and in that moment, you help them.
Yeah.
That's really all that matters.
I mean, it could be anything as far as like asking someone how their day is. Hey, how's it going? How's your day? You know, how you look, that's a nice shirt you got on. Like, you know, usually when I'm in a line or I get to talk to people where I'm around at a crowd, like everybody comes up to me, I will say something nice, right? Like in the picture lines, like I've got usually 4 or 5 lines I'll say. Like, I love, you talk about making a woman smile. They come up there, first off, they're awkward because their husband or whatever, they want to come up and get a picture with me. And then it's like, well, let's put her in the middle because at least I get to stand by a woman, right? Like, you know, let's put a rose between 2 thorns. Like, I'm always trying to just make their day a little bit fucking better. Because you don't know what anybody's going through. You don't know what's going on, and everybody is going through something. So I think, no, it's not about money. It's not about anything other than just doing something nice for someone else every single day, the fellow countryman. Just even if it's as minimal as a compliment, that could be everything to someone going through something.
Yeah, and it costs you nothing.
Nothing.
Literally nothing. So to me, that's what it means. When I read that phrase, support and defend the Constitution, the support part rings out to me as this. It rings out to me as, what did I do today to help my fucking country? What did I do today to make somebody's life other than my own better? You know, and if you have a family, try to extend that outside of your immediate family as well.
You know,
it's important to take care of your children and your spouse, obviously, but that's not all you're responsible for in this world.
But I also believe, I mean, look, I know you're not a believer, but like, you know, I believe as a Christian, I don't think that when, you know, when it talks in the Bible about tithing, I don't think it means go give it to a church. I think it means, you know, you can give 10% of your, you know, of your earnings, of your emotions, of whatever you have to give to other people. That's what it means. It doesn't mean to go give it to some huge organization.
Oh, you mean like Joel Osteen, who just got $4.4 million in small business loans for his mega church that wouldn't allow people to shelter in it after a hurricane? That guy, sweet. Probably don't give him money, guys. If you're out there, probably don't. Yeah. He's a piece of shit.
So anyways, you know, I just think that this is a huge core principle of taking care of each other that, you know, that is definitely one of the, you know, obviously one of the top 2 pieces.
I mean, if you really believe in this country, if you really believe in it, then you have to do everything you can to help everyone here be as best as they can possibly be.
Be best.
I mean, that is the only solution to that. If you think you're in competition with other Americans, you are wrong, my friend.
Yeah.
You are not. You are only in competition with yourself right now. Be better tomorrow than you were today. That's really it. And that sounds like, it really does sound like a platitude, but if you start measuring your own success against other people's, you are going to lose your mind. It doesn't make any sense. So you don't have to get involved in all that nonsense. And I'm not saying be completely selfless. Nobody is a 100% altruistic. You have to have some self-interest. We're biologically programmed to. But
there's a fine line.
You can make a choice every single day. That's what makes it noble. You make the choice to ignore some of your own stuff and go help somebody else. And then you expect in the social contract for when you're down in the dumps, somebody's going to come help you too.
But I'm telling you, like all these things, like the word selfish, the words selfless, like all these things, they're still only as good as the intent behind them. And so my point being is,
if you're doing it for some nefarious, like for ego or clout or any of that shit.
If you're being selfless and you're donating to charity and you're doing this so that you can feel good about yourself, so you can remind everybody of what you do, or so you can be seen, then you're just as much a piece of shit as somebody who's selfish, right?
Yep.
If you're being selfish to yourself to make yourself a better person so that you can help others with the intent of helping others when you can get to that point, well, there's nothing wrong with that either, right? So it's literally down to the intent. Yeah. It's kind of like murder.
Yeah.
The only difference in self-defense and murder is the intent behind it.
Right.
The only difference
the difference between murder and manslaughter is the intent behind it, really.
Absolutely.
If you think even in a more egregious example.
So it comes down to what your core value of, like, how often do you ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Well, always.
Why am I doing this?
Right, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Most people...
Can you say it out loud?
It seems like mission creep almost. Like you get so involved in society and culture and norms and things like that you behave in a way that you think is expected of you instead of a way that you personally feel. Like if you're not okay with the things you're doing, you are going to be miserable.
Here's a great question right here. Benjamin Love. I try to help out, but with homeless, how do I know if they're homeless or not?
You can't know.
Look,
you can't. Here's what I would say to that, and that's a good question. And I think I actually talked to a friend about this the other day.
Well, first off, you don't have any friends, but
that's true, I suppose. Yeah, but I talked to a friend about this the other day. You don't get to pick and choose the good things you do, just like we didn't get to pick and choose what war we fight. You do the right thing all the time.
Yep.
And if people take advantage of you, they take advantage of you. You cannot plan for that.
And look, and to add on to that.
I'm not going to let one person suffer. I'm not going to let 10 people suffer because one person tricked me. You can't live your life that way.
Look, it's kind of like whenever they call 911, right? And I show up on a call.
You got to go 100% every single time.
I treat them the same as if they were my mother or anything else. Like, it's not my job to judge why they're drinking or why they're fucked up or why they've done,
We've all done plenty of
so many
shit.
drugs to get themselves to this point. If anything, it's honestly my honor that they felt the need to call me to allow me to be there in these situations. And hopefully I can be a person that shows them that there is a little bit of good left in this world. Because obviously I can't think that anybody puts themselves in a lot of these positions because that's where they want to fucking be.
Right. I mean, it's few and far between, I would imagine.
And whether he's homeless or not, like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about, why they're there. Don't worry about how they got there. Just know that they're there and that, whatever got them there is bad enough that they feel like this is the best place that they can be. And with that, just do whatever you can do to help out and leave it.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all you can do.
That's it.
And it's somebody asked, Eric C is asking, when do you draw the line between compassion and enabling? I don't think that's really up to you. I've seen these cases where parents have problem children and they try to eventually cut them off. And it doesn't really, I don't think it matters. And so far as I've seen, because they have to reach rock bottom no matter what. Yep. And they're going to get there whether or not you're enabling them, in my opinion. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen people cut them off, and it's like a year later, and they finally hit rock bottom. I see them keep enabling, and then finally hit rock. I don't know if there's any correlation between cutting people off or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to.
I wouldn't think that. Look, dropping food off to someone who's living under a fucking bridge is not enabling them.
Yeah, but if you're like,
don't give them cash.
If your kid's a crackhead and they're 25 years old and you're letting them live in your basement still, no, they got to go.
Yeah.
You have to force them to grow up at some point. It's not about being a dick or anything.
Look, I think the basic fundamentals of providing food and water you know, that is a minimum. You know, you're not going to enable anybody by giving them water or food, right? If they're going to stay under your roof, there has to be some level of expectations and accountability they have to follow. Like, hey, you need to be doing something every single day to better yourself to getting out of here. No drugs, right? Like drugs would not fall in that category. Hanging out with terrible people would not fall in that category. So I think, you know, look, this is not that crazy.
I don't think it is either. I mean, you know, and again, you're never going to know if somebody's taking advantage of you until you know. Then you can stop, I guess, but you know, I wouldn't feel bad about it. It is, I guess it's embarrassing in some ways, but there's not a whole lot you can do about that. You just
I mean, look, you don't want to go down there and drop off, you know, Boone's Farm to a homeless person. I think that would not be. That's probably on the line of definitely enabling them.
Well, I might go get like a case of something and sit there and drink it with them. You know what I mean? Because probably what they want to do is get a little fucked up and hang out with somebody, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm just like, maybe I'll throw a dime back out the window. Here you go, buddy. No, it's you know.
You are an enabler.
I'm not. No, it's you know you. This the best police, soldiers, everything that I know are people that are ready to do some really, really fucked up shit, but they are just as ready to reach down and help you stand up off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, and look, and honestly,
you can be both of those things. I know a lot of people struggle with the dichotomy of man like that. You can be a fucking wolf and still protect your pack. That's a normal thing. There should be nothing surprising about that, because it's the reason that we have these proclivities towards being protectors and using violence to that end is because we have to protect ourselves from things, right? So why would that be surprising? Why would you be alarmed by somebody who is aggressive in society? We need aggressive people.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, for sure. I mean, I don't think that those are attributes that make someone, you know, a bad person, right?
No,
like, you know, these are all needed. It's just how you use them, though, right? Like, look, I think, I mean, obviously, guys like me and you have a huge ego because ego made us successful in the military. I mean, it makes you competitive. Ego makes you, but the same thing that makes you successful, when you figure out what, like, I think that we were all given something when we were born with it. We were wired a certain way that we all have something in us that is our like, I call it our superpower, right? And when you figure that out, you have to understand that same superpower that will make you successful will also be the same thing that will destroy you.
Yeah, if you don't pay attention to it.
If you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah,
if you don't figure out how to use it. It's like a gun, right? Like a gun can be a useful tool.
Yeah, or a deadly one, yeah.
Or a deadly one.
Yeah, I think certainly with the ego thing, we've all got them first. Anybody that says they don't is living in some kind of fantasy world. But, you know, one of the things that I've learned from studying leaders through history is that the finest of them, people like Marcus Aurelius and Augustus Caesar and people like that, tied their ego to the benefit of their country. Like, I want to be the best leader of this country and give all of my people, even the plebs back then, I want to give everybody the best opportunity and live in the best in the best country that they could possibly live in.
Yeah.
That's what Augustus Caesar was mad about. That's all he cared about was civic justice. That's it.
Yeah.
He wanted his people fed and happy, period. That's all he wanted. He wasn't interested. I mean, Julius Caesar was still trying to fight foreign wars and all this stuff. He was close. He wanted to give power back to people. He got killed for it. I mean, imagine that. Imagine a leader that pops up and he's never been in politics before, but all of a sudden he's trying to take power from an entrenched national government and give it back to people, and then he gets raked over the coals for it. Does that sound like anything that may have happened recently?
Don't you think, like, I mean, you know, like we believe in whatever you want. I mean, isn't that what the epitome of the Bible shows you?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's.
I mean,
look,
you can live the perfect life. You can do
the story
everything
of Jesus.
right.
Like, I'm not a believer, so I don't think Jesus is God
still a
or
story.
anything. But Jesus is clearly, that story is absolutely 100% about how to live the best possible life on earth you can live.
And what it shows you is
don't give a shit about money. I don't care if you're a drug addict or prostitute.
Put everybody else first.
Put everyone first, except for yourself.
And guess what it shows you? But guess what it still showed you?
That there's a fucking price to pay for doing that.
Exactly.
That's what it shows me.
Exactly.
And that you should never forget that. It's not all going to be strawberry gumdrops raining from the sky. Life fucking sucks sometimes, and it's going to be like that. So if you're getting into it for that, if you're getting into it for the immediate benefit, then you're going to be severely disappointed. But if you're getting into it to make sure you live in the best possible world you can, then you're going to be, at the end of the day, pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, we're never going to be remembered by what we have. Like,
No.
like I always wake up every day and I'm saying, today I'm writing my eulogy.
Right.
And have you ever gone to a funeral where they sit there and talked about like, yeah, you know, he had, 6 jets, he had 3 Mercedes. They never talk about that, right? People get up there and they talk
He
about.
survived by ...
They get up there and they talk
Right.
about what you did to help them.
Right.
Right. So literally we are writing how people are going to remember us in our legacy. And that's what's important to me. Right. And I feel like the more options, the more times I help people, the better chance I have of somebody showing up at my funeral and saying something good.
Yeah. And it's, don't do it in a vacuum either. It's okay to let other people know that you're doing stuff. As a matter of fact, the best way, in my opinion, to do that is when you start doing something good, try to invite other people to get involved in doing the good thing with you. Don't be one of those people that during BLM, I don't remember that woman during the protests where some guy was rebuilding the front of his building after getting torn up, and she just like was standing there with a paintbrush in her hand and took a selfie, then put the paintbrush down and left. Like, don't be that guy. Don't be that.
Where they're trying to take that photo?
Yeah.
Up in New York?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? But like, they're gonna get theirs. Guess what? They got theirs, right?
Yeah,
like, they got theirs.
They're living their life. It's a completely empty, vapid life. But again, to go back to that, to wrap up that ego thing, it's okay to have an ego. Just make sure that you tie it to the right thing.
Yes.
Make instead of making your ego about being the best whatever, like or thinking I'm the most handsome, I've got whatever, I'm the richest, I'm the most successful. How about I'm being the best human being that I can fucking be?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's a good bellwether. Or I'm doing the most for my country or my family or whatever the case is. Find something other than yourself to focus on.
I'm hard to deal with. I'll argue, I'll fight, but like, I will fight for what I believe in.
Right.
You know damn well that if I bring it to the table and I stand up to it, you know that I've thought it out and you know I fucking believe in it, right? Yeah. And that's, that it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And
principle.
Yeah, number 3.
3.
This is actually one of my favorites because I think this is the reason that people like you and I and a lot of our audience exist in the first place.
This is a good one.
I think it's one of the guiding principles of my life for sure. And you and I had some problems in childhood, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah. Just fucked up shit happened, right?
Yeah.
And this is why this one means a lot to me. I will not allow those less fortunate or incapable of defending themselves to be harmed or taken advantage of in my country.
Yeah, man. Like I can remember the first motherfuckers that, like, I remember the first guys in school that fucked with me, that made my life miserable showing up to school. And I'll be honest with you, man, like they are still the fire in me that burns, that I like. And I looked him up the other day because I put him in my book, and one of them's name is Corey Wood from he's from near my hometown. The other one is Cody Gabehart, I think, or Patrick Gabehart. Yeah, Patrick Gabehart. And we went to school together. And in the 3rd and 4th grade, man, I was so miserable going to fucking school because these dudes were just fucking pricks, right? And I looked one of them up the other day, and one of them went to jail for drugs and a bunch of bullshit.
Of course, yeah.
Like, of course, right? And like I still think about this, and like those two are the two that I put up on my radar every fucking time I think about a bully.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
you just see their face.
I just see it. I just see it. Like, living at home was terrible. Right. At that time, I was living with my mom, and home life was fucking terrible. It was a shit show there, no stability. And then coming to school, the only place I might have peace, you got these two motherfuckers wrecking world, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's like those are things that give me the fire in me. To have this empathy, to connect for them.
Well, I mean, you can choose how to deal with that. Every man and woman has the choice that goes through some kind of struggle on what are you going to turn it into, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to turn it into chaos? Are you going to become the person that you hate? Or are you going to turn it into something better than them?
Yeah.
And, I'll say this first on this subject. I don't want to hear any of the macho, tough guy, sheepdog bullshit if you're the kind of person who sees injustice and does nothing to stop it.
Yeah, you are just, that's like with that Jeffrey Epstein thing, right? Like, if you were on the plane and you seen somebody and you seen an underage girl on the plane with Epstein, you are just as, you need to be the same place that motherfucker is, right? Like, could you imagine me and you going to get on a private jet? Let's just say somebody invited us to get on a private, like to go fly somewhere, right? And we get on there with a bunch of men who are our age and up, and you see a 15-year-old.
I'm obviously going to ask who it is.
Yeah.
Is this your niece? Your daughter? Who is
your
this?
niece or daughter? And then I'm going to ask,
how old are you?
How old are you?
Oh, what do you do? I would do it a little simply. Like, what do you do? Are you in college? Like, oh, I'm in high school. Like, okay, good. But now we got a fucking problem, right?
I mean, right? Like,
you're about to go commie diving.
We're
Right
going to an island on vacation.
Yeah, it's not happening.
So hold on. So your niece that's high school is going with 9 or 10 other guys.
Yeah.
Right. How are y'all related again? I mean, don't you think you ask more questions?
Yeah.
Would you ride that plane?
I mean, I wouldn't know what was going on in it until at that point, right? But I would definitely have something to say about that and something to do about it afterwards. I mean, you can't allow that stuff. You can't.
Fuck no.
I mean, we've been taught to mind our own business.
Yeah.
Which is, in some ways good. Like, don't try to intrude into people's lives. But what if minding your own business meant you see somebody looking upset in public? That person's thinking about blowing their fucking brains out, and you just saying, hey, you okay, was enough to stop that.
Yeah.
Should I have minded my own business at that point? So, again, I don't want to hear from anyone, frankly, who sits by silently while others are being bullied or harmed.
No, because you're a fucking coward.
You're a fucking coward. I have no respect for that at all.
Yeah.
I never will. And justice anywhere, right, is a threat to justice everywhere. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. said. It's a very interesting statement. It's a simple statement, but why is it true? Why is it true that if injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere? It's because evil preys on weakness.
Yep.
We're stronger together than we are on our own. And we have to collectively set and enforce all of these principles and standards.
I mean, why do gangs do
initiation?
Initiation.
For the same reason that we do basic training and indoctrination.
But I'm saying, like, why are gangs and mobs and all their violence done with multiple people usually?
Oh, of course.
Because of this right here, right? It's together they're stronger. They know they're stronger together, right? The same as we are. We're stronger together.
Yeah, and if you are strong, by the way, individually, you have a moral obligation to protect the weak. That's why you exist. And that's the only, forget about any religious reason that you may exist and what intrinsic value your life might have because of that. Just from a purely biological standpoint, the reason that human beings like you and I and a lot of other people even exist is because human society is always been about that. It's been about hunters, gatherers, protectors. It's been about strong people defending weak people so that weaker people can use their skills to benefit society as well. There are things that cannot happen without security.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wish, sometimes, I'll be honest, I wish I didn't have that sense that I felt like I needed to jump in.
It is.
It's like a curse.
It's hectic.
It's hectic, right?
Say that, yeah. I
wish I could walk past something that I knew was wrong sometimes and not have to say something. But it's like, this is just who the fuck I am. I think I came to this conclusion the other day, like, I'm kind of like the world's garbage man. Like, I'm here to pick up the shit that people don't want to. It's a job that needs to be done, but, I'm here to deal with, what society has said they don't want to deal with. They've thrown out, or that they don't want anymore, or that they want to overlook when they walk by it or walk past it, right? Or they want to try to pretend that it's not there. That's what I deal with.
I mean, we step over each other.
We do.
In our own pursuits.
Imagine that.
Which seems problematic.
Conflict, people hurting, people suffering. It's kind of like the garbage can when people, they try to hide, like in a HOA, that we hide our garbage cans behind something.
Yeah, a little
they
wooden
can't be
fence.
seen, a wooden
Yeah.
fence, and we put our trash in it, and we bring it out one time a week because we don't want to look at other people's trash.
Right.
Right? We want to try to pretend that it's not there. And then if you don't get your trash can back fast enough, we write letters to our HOA and you get in trouble for
Yeah,
it because
right.
we don't want to pretend like you have garbage cans.
Yeah, it's silly. It's silly. We were certainly focused on some weird things. There's no question about that. That's why I like this one. I'm going to say that again because I think it bears repeating. I will not allow those less fortunate or incapable of defending themselves to be harmed or taken advantage of in my country.
Absolutely.
So not just harmed. We're not talking about physical harm. When this is a relatively new phenomenon, I guess, but shutting down people's businesses, the federal government and state governments just deciding that they can shut down somebody's privately owned business is a problem.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the Constitution that grants them the power to do that. And, that's where people need to start fighting back. Whatever it is. Ian Smith now owes like $1.4 million in fines for keeping his gym open. There's 500,000 privately owned businesses now that are closed forever. Families, at least 500,000 families have lost everything in this country. All the money and time they've invested over the last however many years to build a successful business, now the business is gone. They have no chance at wealth or upward mobility or any of that shit. It's gone now, right? So we punted on our economy for 25 years because of this stupid bullshit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? This cannot be allowed to happen, this kind of stuff. That's one of them. That's just one example. There's plenty of them. So what else is taking advantage of somebody? If you're out there and you are a liberal, if you're a Democratic voter, then you have to look at your party and say, why have we kept the black community, chasing carrots on a stick for the last 40 plus years with welfare instead of providing them entrepreneurship and real access to upward mobility? Why have we done that? Why have we done that and demanded they vote for us? Or you ain't black, according to Joe Biden, right?
Yeah.
Why have we done that? You got to ask yourself this. Don't be a fucking coward. Look at your party and decide, why have I let my party and why have I continued to vote for a party that has taken advantage of these people for fucking decades? Ask yourself that. I think that's an important question. And again, I'm not conservative, by the way. If you're out there and you're going to bitch about me saying that, I don't give a fuck. Hold your people accountable. Don't let people be taken advantage of. It's up to you to stop it because nobody else is coming to help.
Absolutely.
The end.
The end.